Hello everyone, this is Naresh IAS Academy digital platform for IAS Mains Exam. Now I am going to discuss the next part on IAS Mains Exam General Studies question paper 2. We are providing a session for IAS Mains answer writing and the offline classes at the Jaipur center. So you may contact. The civil service exams requires update information and the contemporary issues, those are happening throughout the world. We have to link these topics and we have to acquire the innovative ideas so that the knowledge can be invested in these topics. Today's our topic is the role of civil service. This is the next topic in the syllabus. Civil service. We can understand the topic into the two factions. First, the role of civil service. UP have mentioned, and the next part is the criticism. This is the another part. So this is the synopsis of civil services in India. Okay. Role. What is the role of civil services in India and what was the main philosophy or approach for the creation of civil services? So there are different kinds of civil services in India. Civil services under the union government, under the state government or at the local levels. But here I am going to discuss only the higher civil services. They are mainly a regulatory and they are the foundation of union and state governments. On the another side, there were so many commissions or committees recommended to end these civil services because they found too much expensive and extra financial burden over the countries and the less effectivity. That's why they recommended to end the civil services in India. But on the other hand, the other committees recommended to continue these services. Now we have to understand the role of civil services. First, the important role from which the civil services may be a foundation for any government. This is the integrity. Integrity is an important part of civil service in any country. Second is the neutrality. And third is effectiveness. And we can say these are the core values of the civil services. And this is the criticism part, the negative role of civil services. Second, the matter of prestige or dignity. Those committees or commission recommended to maintain the civil services they suggested the civil services have the higher level of integrity. Integrity means to give priorities of the duties related to any constitutional office or the office which is holding by any civil servants. In any circumstances, the priority of the office never be compromised. So, it is the main part of integrity. But here the question is, how a civil servant can maintain the higher level of integrity? If the civil servants have two main qualities, the non-partisanship and impartiality. Non-partisanship and the impartialities are basic part for the integrity. If in any case the civil servants have lost the non-partisanship or impartiality, definitely either he have lost the integrity or in future he may lose. So, integrity and the governments ensured the higher level of official securities and the constitutional security to these services. Higher scales of salaries, allowances and the privileges and facilities, and the main concept to providing the top level facilities to these servants so that they could maintain the integrity. But on the other hand, when we see the practical position at the Indian society, most of civil services or civil servants now have indulged in the different matter of corruptions or indisciplines, and so many top officials have imprisoned, they have given a rigorous punishment, they have sent to jail, and so many civil servants are facing the legal problems before the high courts and supreme courts. Then how can we say the civil servants are maintaining integrity? If they were maintaining, but on the other hand, definitely we can say now the civil servants have become a part of a nexus with criminals and the industrials or the capitalists and the different political parties. Definitely the committee Rajmannar and the others suggested the civil servants are not maintaining their integrity, so the government of India could not afford these officials and immediately they should be repealed or ended. Second, the role of civil services as the neutrality. Neutrality means what? Civil servants like the IAS and IPS, the top civil servants, they must have neutrality with any political party, specific community, capitalist class or any vested interest group, and they must not have any kinds of neutrality with the constitution, with the duty of their office and Indian peoples. But we study practically or analyze the matter of neutrality in the Indian society. So many civil servants, either the part of any political parties, they are very close to the political parties, and the different industrial classes or the capitalist class, sometimes they are found very close to the top criminals in India, and in this case we cannot take too much responsibility providing the higher level of salaries and the other facilities, because their role is not positive for the Indian society, Indian peoples and the Indian nations. So then the matter of neutrality definitely have lost by the civil servants. So then why the civil servants are deviating from the official duties of their post, and why they are not maintaining the neutrality? At the earliest stage, when the civil services were created in India, it was thought if we make top officials at the lower age group, just like at the age of 22, 23, 24, so definitely in this age any persons have the higher level of energy and have a straight mindset. He will never surrender before any difficult circumstances, and definitely he will have maintain the priority of Indian society peoples. But on the other hand, we are seeing the another phase of the civil services. Third is the effectiveness. Effectiveness means any schemes, law or legislation of union or state government must be implemented, executed to the community or peoples without any hurdles or barriers. Easy access by the peoples, it is the part of effectiveness. The civil servants have machinery, technical assistance, e-governance facilities, manpower, road connectivity, communication, and the governments is based upon the civil servants, but the schemes of governments are not reaching at time properly to their destination or to the targeted communities. Sometimes media, electronic or print media, when they interview with the peoples, in so many cases the peoples have accepted, we have no information about the such kinds of schemes government introduce targeting for them. What is this? And why the effectiveness of civil services is decreasing in India? On the other hand, we are emphasizing over the road connectivity, communication, broadband facilities, e-governance, and strengthening the infrastructure facilities. And definitely these facilities required a too much effectiveness of the civil services. So we can say the grounds of effectiveness of the government policies is not satisfactory, because we can prove this. In India nowadays, millions of people are suffering from the starvation. Millions of people do not have the basic facilities for surviving, and millions of people are below the poverty line. They are the poor peoples, and so many people are unemployed, and millions of people are not getting any kinds of education or health facilities. However, these all facilities are the part of government schemes, and these schemes must have covered all the deprived peoples, but it have not become reality in India. So there are the three main pillars of civil services, and the role of any civil services or civil servant must be studied or analyzed under the integrity, neutrality and effectiveness. The prestige, this is the next part of the criticism. The prestige of civil services. When the civil services were created, there was a time Indian peoples, the Indian society have a higher respect to the IAS and IPS officers. But nowadays, recently we are seeing nothing. They are simply a top officials, but they have lost their social prestige or image or dignity among the Indian peoples. Why? Why it is happening? Because through the media, the common peoples have learned or studied or have seen so many top officials, civil servants are in jail and they are indulged a part of criminal groups. That's why the concept of prestige have removed from the mind of Indian peoples, and this is not a healthy indicator, because the label of top civil services in India and their dignity is a part of this, and in the present time it is decreasing. Definitely it will lose the effectiveness, because the Indian peoples, if respect, obey the orders, accept the facilities, then it increases the effectiveness. So the question arose here, the civil services must be ended or should be continued. There are the two questions raised by the different communities or groups. In India, when we compare the Indian system with Germany, Japan, America, where the most of role is playing by the private sector or the corporate sector, the least role is played by the civil services. But the Indian socio-economic circumstances are not same as prevailing in these countries, because the corporations or private sector, mainly organization working on profit making organization, and millions of people in India are under surviving in the deteriorating conditions. After a limit, when we will cover all the peoples, when we will successful to provide the basic facility to each people, there shall be no matter of starvation, unemployment, poverty in India. So definitely we may follow the pattern of America, Germany, Japan in India. But now this is not a time, this is not a proper time for this. So definitely we must continue the civil services in India. But in what manner? Not in this way. So definitely there is a broad scope of reforms. So we must apply some reforms, the constitutional reforms, legal reforms, social reforms in the civil services. Definitely one point I want to say, that the civil servants, their duties, their promotion must be based upon the performance. For example, if a IAS officer is appointed as a district collector at a district level, so he must be provided different problems of the districts at the time of joining, and now we have to target these problems through a district collector for the 2 or 3 years. If the district collector successful to eliminate or to remove these problems, definitely it must be promoted at the top civil services. If he fails, definitely either he must be terminated or must be punished. So this may be a better way for strengthening the scope or role of civil services in India. So you must try to understand the topic in this way. What was the main philosophy approach after the civil services and their roles, and what we are seeing in the present time, it is totally contradictory when we observe the Indian society. However, they have achieved so many so many landmarks, and their achievements are not too least. But when we talk about the reformation or renovation of Indian society, or linkage between the Indian people and the government, so then at that platform the civil services have failed definitely. Okay, this is the topic. So you must study the topic in this way. Thank you.